How to prevent users from deleting a folder, while still giving them modify permissions to its contents. I am trying to prevent users from accidentally deleting certain folders, such as their personal scan destination folder, stored in their home drive, while still giving them read plus write permissions to the contents of these special folders. My experimentation with various different NTFS permission combinations has been unsuccessful, as I find that the users are either unable to access the contents, or able to delete the parent folder. How can I do this?
As Graham pointed out, using multiple permissions entries for the same user, something I had never tried before, was the key here. The permissions on the parent folder give the users almost absolute freedom to make any change, except that the delete box is unchecked, so users cannot delete/move/rename this important folder by accident. Moving on to the second permission set for the same user, which apply not to the folder itself, but to its contents, we see the exact same rights granted to the user, including delete privileges. So, users can do anything they wish to the subfolders and files, including deleting/moving/renaming them. This configuration allows me to protect key folders, such as personalized target scan directories which reside in user personal network locations. Users can modify the contents, such as deleting PDFs of scans they no longer wish to keep, but cannot inadvertently cause problems for themselves by deleting a folder the scanner expects to see when saving to the network. I had to disable inheritance for the special folder as it was otherwise not possible to make changes to the user's permissions which varied from the root of the network share. However, all subfolders and objects do use inheritance in order to obtain their permissions from their parent folder. Once I figured out exactly what needed to be done, this only took a couple of minutes to adjust for each user. I now have peace of mind that key network folders cannot accidentally get deleted by users.
The ability to delete something from a folder is usually dependent upon the permissions assigned by the parent and not the folder itself, i.e. you can't say, "Don't delete me." So this means you need to control the delete permission of the folder itself and the permissions of the parent of the folder. For example,
the folder should have read permission, delete subfolders and files, create folder/append data, create files, write data, read attributes, list folder, read data, traverse folder, execute file, and that's it. The content should be full control. This combination should, assuming correct ownership of the files and correct user creation and administration, allow your users to have access through the folder to its contents, without them being able to delete or modify the folder itself.
Nicely done on the accepted answer. Short answer. The short description is that you need this pair of permissions. Below is a rough approximation of Windows 10 GUI. Command line or script, =. You can set these permissions from the command line or a script using the == command as follows. == directory name /grant principal column, oicrx, w, principal column, oiciom. Where? Directory name is the directory name. Principal is the user or group name. Example: this allows members of the local users group, SID S1532545, you can use SIDs with icicles if you prefix with character 1, the ability to create /rename/delete files and directories in the C:\program files /app/temp directory, but they won't be able to delete the C:\program files /app/temp directory itself. Currently a list of well-known SIDs is available at this URL, but seeing as how Microsoft moves things, a search for well-known SIDs should get you there. Technical details. Flags, see this URL for more details. Object inherit. This ACE, access control entry, will be inherited by objects placed in this container. Container inherit. This ACE will be inherited by subcontainers placed in this container. Inherit only. This ACE will be inherited, but does not apply to this object itself. Permissions. RxW corresponds to read, write in AMP, execute in the GUI. Corresponds to modify in the GUI. Thus, IOM corresponds to modify access for subfolders and files only in the GUI. RxW corresponds to read, write in AMP, execute access for this folder, subfolders and files in the GUI.
If you want to support the channel,